Hey guys, welcome back. So, as you know, I am very much a graduate student. I am also working full time. I've been including workouts into my routine, but now kind of want to give you guys a little bit on what to expect when doing practicum, especially during this time of COVID. So, why don't we go ahead and get started? So, the big question is, what is practicum? The best way I have been able to explain it to my friends, to family, especially to my parents, it's kind of like a pre-internship phase. It pretty much is an internship, but I'm not 100% sure why they don't call it an internship, but that's pretty much what it is. Sometimes, depending on the school that you go to, you might be able to do it at your school's local mental health center or somewhere in your community. Oh, pardon me, guys. This weather's really causing my throat to get weird. But practicum. It's literally we're practicing right before internship. Depending on where you go, some places might be completely via Zoom. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. So for me, practicum has been a very much, I'm going to say, a Zoom experience in the sense that I've been doing absolutely everything on Zoom. My orientation was on Zoom, my supervision is on Zoom, I meet with my clients on Zoom. It's not the experience I would have wanted or liked, but it is experience and exposure nonetheless. It's something that I have been able to put into my schedule. As some of you know, I am a full time student, I am also working full time, and now I'm including practicum into my schedule. Practicum is pretty much a part time job. So it's pretty much full time job, full time school, part time work, which is practicum, and then trying to include a healthy fitness regime into my life, if that makes sense. It can be very tiring. My schedule is very packed most of the time, but I'm still trying to find ways to do some self-care overall, because that is definitely something you need to be aware of with practicum. You are dealing with other people's problems that they may not know how to handle, and we're here to help them realize or see why it is that they may not be able to establish a better understanding of their situation. And that's where we as mental health counselors come in to help them get a better understanding. It's very much a 50-50 job in the sense that you could only do as much as your client is willing to do as well. You have to always be aware that you can't take things personally. If your client is not progressing, it's up to you to either do further reading on how to better help and assess your patient, or even seek help from your supervisor. Your supervisor is there for that reason, to make sure that you're doing an I can't speak. I'm pretty sure adequate job. I really hope I said that right. But your supervisor is there to make sure you're doing a good job at what you're doing. They're not going to be telling you about how to do, they're there to correct you, but you should be going in knowing most, at least the book portion of what you should technically be doing. And I really hope that makes sense, because I know I understand what I'm saying, but sometimes it may not come across to others, meaning you all, but I really hope you understand what I'm trying to say. But they're not going to be telling us how to talk to someone, how we should be expressing ourselves with people. That should be things our schools have taught us and trained us in to the best of their ability. And now it's up to us to go in there and kind of put our best foot forward and be open to hear criticism from our supervisors, from other people that are already working there, other counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, different people, because they're there to make sure that we do a good job, you know? And as practicum students, we need to be open to that criticism. We have to be aware of our biases. You need to be aware of your capabilities and know where your boundaries are, because there are going to be clients, patients, people that are going to want, I don't want to say take advantage, but they might accidentally cross a boundary that should have been established. And that's nobody's fault. Sometimes when you see someone so frequently, they might start to view you as a friend. But above all, you are their counselor, you know? And there's no exchanging of numbers. Something that they did for us with my practicum site, we got Google Voice. So it's kind of, we're not giving out our personal numbers because you don't want your client, your patient to contact you at your personal number. Because first of all, you're not going to be there for a long period of time. It's only for maybe a fall semester or spring semester. So Google Voice for us was a lifesaver, especially because for us, everything was via Zoom, internet, whatever. Google Voice helped us. It provides you a random number, and that's a number that I use to contact my clients, especially when I got a client and be like, hi, I'm Nicole. I'm your assigned mental health counselor. What is the best time that we can set up an appointment for you? Boom. It's kind of you have to learn to establish rapport, and sometimes things are easy to do reading a book, but Booksmart, it helps you to an extent, but you also have to be willing to analyze and understand your patient. Everybody has their own story, their own background, their own culture that comes with them. And you have to be aware of your prejudgments, of how you may view people, and of your facial expressions. I am a very expressive person, whether I want to be or not, meaning if something upsets me, you will clearly see it on my face. In my head, I feel like I'm all neutral, like, yeah, like you can't tell what I'm feeling, but sadly, that's not the case. If I am upset, you will notice that I am upset. If I am sad, you will be like, oh, why are you upset? Because it's on my face. I have a very expressive face, and I blame that on my Latina background because, let's face it, most Latinas, well, no, let me stop. That's a stereotype. But most Latinas tend to be very, I don't want to say dramatic, but we like to be very expressive. And my family is very expressive, so that's where I get my facial expressions from, you know? I think that's the most I can really tell you to be aware of. Make sure to definitely read all the rules and procedures that your site has. There's different phone intakes, how to do a proper note for your patient, a bunch of little things that you can learn from without it being, I don't want to say a wasted experience, because any type of experience or exposure is a wonderful thing, especially for us when we're just getting our feet wet. So anything that your site asks of you, make sure to keep up with it, especially if yours is via Zoom like me. I use a planner 24/7. I write my notes, not my notes, my appointments there, when I have to give in my hours, my time sheets, everything. I also kind of write down around what time I should be doing my notes for my clients, because you always want to keep notes on them just so you can see if they're progressing, if they're decompensating, a bunch of different things. And you also want to make sure you're being HIPAA compliant. I don't really know how to explain HIPAA, so I'm going to put a little blurb here in this little area, kind of explaining what HIPAA is, but it's pretty much keeping everything confidential. You're never gonna put your patient's name, you know? You might know them as Christopher, but you're not gonna put Christopher felt this. Well, when you're doing your notes, you can, but when you're talking to somebody, you want to take away any identifying features, so their name is an identifying feature. Sometimes when you provide notes to somebody, you're not going to put your client's name. You might put A1520-3. That's their kind of code for that specific client. And they may not know what it means, but you do. You know that's just a way to identify them and be able to get maybe further information or a second perspective without giving your client's information away. But that's something further along the line. You know, further along you go into your practicum, different things will pop up. Suicide assessment, risk assessment, a depression assessment. Trust me, there's an assessment for everything, pretty much. And sometimes you might have to do one of those. Other times you may never have to do one of those until you're actually like working and you're like, oh crap, like this is something I have to do now. But be ready, go in with an open mind, and be willing to take some of the constructive criticism, because everyone's there to make sure that you're doing well and growing and being the best counselor that you can be, because that's what we want to be ultimately. We want to make sure that our patients, our clients are getting the best care that they can get. And if that means we have to do further research, more reading, ask our supervisor for help or how to make a treatment plan, then so be it. Everything is for the sake of our patients, of our clients. And let's face it, we always want what's best for them above all else. But also be aware of yourself. If you feel tired, take a break, in the sense that know when to take care of yourself. If taking care of yourself means laying down and reading a book for an hour, take that hour. Take that time to rest, because you don't want to burn out. I don't want to see any of you burn out, because there's so much potential to help so many people, but we also need to be aware of our limits, of what we're able to do, and be willing to learn from our mistakes. So, with that being said, I really hope this has helped you all get a better insight a little bit onto what to expect, to take your best foot forward. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm literally finishing my practicum this semester, and now I'm going to start internship in summer 2021, hopefully. So fingers crossed that internship officially starts 2021. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to ask down below. I would love to answer any questions you all have, especially because I am a student in this field. I'm getting my feet wet right now, in the sense that I'm being exposed. So it was a pleasure talking to you all. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, like, share, whatever you please. Thank you so much for listening to me and staying in tune. Take care, everyone. Mwah.